Welcome back to The Healthy Writer, where creativity meets wellness. Today we'll be discussing how to quickly calm yourself down in the event of a panic attack. When you have a panic attack, your body enters fight or flight mode. And this triggers multiple physical responses in the body, which can include an increase in heart rate and blood pressure, blood flow being redirected, so you may become pale or flushed, and your hands and feet may become clammy or cold. You may also have a dulled or delayed sense of pain. So we'll see this in movies sometimes where someone hits something when they're experiencing fight or flight, and it's not until after where they're kind of pulsing with that pain of punching or hitting something. And then you may also have a heightened sense of awareness. And because stress hormones are coursing through your body, you may be more tense or twitchy. Fight or flight is a way for your body to enter survival mode. It's an important aspect that served us well when we faced predators, and it can still help us during actual emergencies. But if someone is getting triggered into fight or flight mode during non-emergency moments, that's when it's important to get back in the driver's seat of your body. The first way to curb a panic attack fast is by taking deep breaths into your belly. So if you think about the mechanisms of belly breathing, if you're lowering your blood pressure and calming your heart rate, then you're essentially sending signals to your body and your mind and your emotional state that actually you're okay, that this isn't a cause for panic or fight or flight. So to take deep breaths, I recommend putting one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and then you can kind of feel where the breath is going. A lot of the times, especially when we're having a panic attack or an adrenaline rush, we end up breathing through our chest, so we're getting shallow breath and we're not having a full oxygen exchange. So take your palm, put it on your chest, take your other hand and put it on your belly, that's where mine is, and then I want you to close your eyes and breathe into your nose as deeply as you can. And because a lot of us are accustomed to breathing through our chests, this might take practice to get into deep belly breaths, but do your best. It's not about perfection, it's just figuring out how it works for you, right? So deeply breathe through your nostrils into your belly. And the goal is to feel your belly inflate like a little balloon. And then you want to feel, as you exhale, the breath come back up into your chest, and then you can expel it through your mouth. So we'll do 3 of these breaths. It can be helpful to do like a counted breaths. So you can think about breathing in for 4 counts and then breathing out for 4. Breathing out through your mouth can help loosen your jaw if you're clenching it. And then you repeat as many times as you need. And I honestly was feeling quite stressed before filming this, and I can already feel the calm in my body. So if it can do it for me, it can definitely do it for y'all. And the nice thing about all these techniques I'm going to share with you guys is that they're all just reliant on your body. There's no extra expenses or tools. It's all through your body, calming yourself down through your system. So this next one is an absolute favorite of mine. It's an acupressure point for balancing emotions. I discovered this through Monique Aipassa's channel. I'll link to that video below because it is a little more extensive than what I'm going to give. And Monique's pretty cool for sharing this point. And I'm sure she knows way more about acupressure than I know. So acupressure moves through various points. It's kind of like, if you think about acupuncture, which is hitting different meridian points on the body, believing that those points connect to different systems, it's the same concept, except instead of using needles, you're using oftentimes like your thumbs or your fingers. So this point is for balancing emotions, as I said, and the way to find it is you're going to take one of your hands. I like to do both hands, but you start with one. So you can take one of your hands, fold the fingers over softly, like a little fist, and then you're going to go to the toward the pinky after the middle finger. So here, I'll try to bring my palm up so you can see, and your lightly folded fingers. So it's about there. You can kind of feel it too. It's going to be between the finger webbing, so you're falling a little bit. So I'll show you again. Middle finger here, you're moving toward the pinky, and it's going to be about, between here. So, you put one finger here, and then you put your thumb. And different people do different things. Some people like to pulse it, or you can rub it in a circle. I like to rub it in the circle, but whatever feels good to you. So you want to do this for about 30 seconds to a minute. And I do this like all the time. This one's super easy to do, and if no one knows this technique, then you can do it and people will just think like, you're giving yourself a little massage. They won't really think too much about it, or they'll think you have a hand cramp. And that's the benefit. I'm gonna switch to my other hand. That's the benefit of, like I said, all of these techniques, is that they're really easy to do. And, not all of us have the benefit of scheduling our panic attacks or anxiety attacks at opportune moments. So if you can find ways that quickly calm you, then, you're filling your toolbox with a lot more tools. And that's really important. So this was a video that I knew was really important, had to get out sooner than later. And, I hope y'all can benefit from these tips. All right, so I'm feeling a little calm and a little more balanced already. So let's move on to the next one, yeah? So the next technique to ground yourself during a panic attack is doing some sort of bilateral movement. So if anyone watching this is familiar with EMDR, you might already be familiar with bilateral movement. So bilateral movement, basically using both sides of the body. So one of the ways of doing bilateral eye movement in EMDR is to look from side to side. And this can be really good if you're dissociating really fast during a panic attack and you have to find kind of yourself back in the room or wherever you are. And there are other ways to do this. One of the ways that I knew of before I started EMDR was I would take my hand and I would just go like that on my body. And sometimes if like the subway was really, anxiety inducing because it was like rush hour or whatever and people were like crowding around me, I would just start doing this and I'd kind of feel myself be a little calmer. So, it helps. Other people who do EMDR as well, they use their thighs. So doing one hand on either thigh back and forth. Everyone's different. We all have different preferences. I like going back and forth, or I like doing this one. I do use my thighs sometimes, but it's just not as much a preference as like the chest and the eyes. And I also like doing the bilateral eye movement because there are some other techniques of calming, like the vagus nerve and some other treatments for traumatic memories that work with movement in different areas with your eyes. So then I like to see, if it can help in multiple ways. And I like doing the chest one because it's like meridian tapping, which can be really good for the body. I'm hoping to do more videos on meridian tapping. But anyways, so yes, I highly recommend bilateral eye movement or finger movement, and we'll move on to the next one. Oh, a few years ago, I was looking for an apartment, which is definitely one of my major triggers, housing situations. And I was having a panic attack that lasted for hours. I was hyperventilating and crying for probably like 2 to 3 hours. It was terrible. I was really hungry and I couldn't move because I was just stuck in this constant loop. Even thinking about it now, I start getting like a little anxious. And so, you know, I was sitting on the floor, like on the back of my heels, and I'm just like, what am I going to do? I'm really hungry. I need to eat something. I need to go to the grocery store, but I can't move from this spot. And I was looking down at my jeans, and I just tried to think of the most ridiculous thing I could say. And so to myself, in my head or aloud, I don't remember which, I was saying, my jeans are safe. And I was like, well, that's a ridiculous kind of thing to say, but there's also something comforting to think about, like, this object that I'm wearing as being safe. And so I started looking around the room, and I started saying different things around the room were safe. So I was saying books are safe, which as a writer and a reader felt very good. There was like a vampire doll on the bookcase, and I said, you know, vampire doll is safe. And then I saw games and like candles, and so I just went through listing all these things in the room. And later on I found out that that actually is a grounding technique, naming things around you. And then, of course, in that moment, I had added an extra kind of level of comfort, which was giving, you know, an adjective that was comforting to me, which was safe, which was what I really wanted to feel in that moment, in that span of panicking. And then, you know, after a few minutes of this, I felt better. I was kind of laughing at how like ridiculous this was, naming all these different objects as being safe. And I was able to stand up and kind of wipe my tears away, clean up my makeup, and then I went to the grocery store and I ate food, which is always important when you're hungry. So naming things, I highly recommend. Another great way of calming yourself down when you're in a panic attack or anxiety attack is movement. So if you're thinking about fight, flight, or freeze, one is obviously aggressive, right? Fight. One is, so that's like staking your claims where you are. The other one is running away, flight, and then freeze is just paralysis. But if you have movement, you can often come out of all of these because you're going to be releasing some of your cortisol as you're moving, and your other, you know, feel-good chemicals will be rising. So one of the things I would do sometimes when I had panic attacks when I was younger, I would like jog down the sidewalk for like a minute and a half, and it would just kind of release that excess energy that gets caught in your body when you're upset. Another thing I like to do sometimes is to dance. I'll think of like a song that really is kind of upbeat, and I'll dance to it. Or I'll dance to, I have a couple songs that are like my angry songs, and sometimes I'll dance to those. Just getting that movement. You can also try like hopping, jumping jacks, anything brief. Sometimes I brush myself off, which is something I learned from meridian tapping. Like after you do a bunch of tapping, you can kind of wipe it down. After you have like an icky conversation with someone, you can also do that. Like, ugh, I don't want that conversation to linger with me. So you can do that with your anxiety too. Like, please go away. So yeah, I think we're at the end of the list. There are so many more techniques, so this by far isn't the end of, you know, all the different ways to end panic attacks, but I'm hoping this is a good start for you all. I think life is full of stressors, and we all have moments where we just feel like we need a little extra help. And if you can find ways to help your body with your body, then, you know, I think you have a leg up on a lot of people then. Leg up on the phrasing, you know what I mean. Anyways, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If any of these tips sound really cool that you think you'll try, please let me know in the comments below. And if you have tips that you like during your panic attacks or whatever, also let me know in the comments below. Thanks, y'all. Please like, subscribe, hit that notifications button, and I'll see you soon.